So I made it today 70 of 100-day no-fap challenge. Eating some fruit here in Thailand. These are longkongs. So always eat some kind of fruit for breakfast and sometimes even for lunch. Today's topic is why they want you to be addicted. So let's first look at the history of addiction. As you may know, I'm writing an ebook on no-fap and I'm looking at different scientific papers and studies done on addiction and internet pornography and sexual disorders, things like this. And I stumbled upon an article which says about addiction, and as it was looked upon as a kind of a moral failure, so it was looked upon something that people can control, and in other words, addiction was looked upon as people were chose to do these things, like chose to be addicted to alcohol and drugs, and they're seen as being weak and pretty much just outcast of society. Like if somebody was addicted to something, it means they're just weak-minded, and they often even ended up in prison because they're causing problems, whatever. And those who tried to help them were also looked upon as, often go in prison as well. But that has changed with more studies coming in, proving that it's the brain chemistry and motivation of brain pathways and this reward circuitry that's involved, and it's more about the addiction is more like a mental disease, so it has specific psychological patterns are developed and should be treated as a disease, not as a moral failure. So you may be asking if it's like such a serious disease and many people are addicted. So the most common addictions are, it's not alcohol and drugs, but it's things like overeating and junk food, shopping, sex addictions, gambling. So these are the most common, but people are still seeing these addictions as nothing serious, because like kind of everybody is addicted to, how many fat kind of people are in the world. So I think the figure is like 60% of Americans are overweight, so it's pretty crazy. So 60% of Americans are pretty much addicted. You got shopping. Like, who would ever thought that somebody could be addicted to shopping? Usually it's the girls who want like new shoes, new dresses and stuff, brands. And then you have good old gambling, but it's not just gambling for, the money and betting. It's also like the computer games. So many people are addicted to computer games, and I think I was there myself as well. Many people will even laugh at you if you say you have sex addiction. Many people will deny it to this day. I was talking to many people who are seriously addicted to porn and sex, and they would deny it. So even though scientifically it's proven that it's the same brain chemistry involved in all these addictions, why is it not kind of publicly known that these addictions are, causing harm to people? Why is there no such thing as hey, be aware if like this burger might be addicted to you, or these chips might be addictive? So let's just say there's a big business involved in addictions, and even though the studies are there, they're not promoted and people are not aware that they might even be addicted. They're only aware of the most common addiction, like alcohol, smoking and drugs, but we know that the same is involved with food and sex, gambling, shopping, etc. So let's look at how much money is in these addictions. For example, if you're addicted to food, you spend insane amount of money on junk food like pizzas, burgers. It's insane how much money you can spend if you're addicted to food. It's even, I think, it's the most expensive addiction. But even then, when people will realize that they're addicted to kind of like junk food and stuff, they'll, it said in the article that people always try to maintain kind of equilibrium and kind of no change. So when Einstein came up with this theory of relativity, he came, like, even though it was scientifically proven that it's true, in the community he was really criticized heavily by scientific community, you know, businessmen and everyone else involved, public, because people didn't want change. People didn't want to believe something new that's like big out of their, you know, out of their previous thinking. So same goes for things like veganism, or, you know, like addictions, as I told you, like sexual addictions, overeating. So people are not really grasping this yet, even though it's scientifically proven that you can get addicted to these things. And moreover, there is the big business. So for example, pretty much shopping and overeating would be considered really good for economy. Well, what about sexual? Like, you know, you don't spend any money on watching porn, or you don't spend much money on computer games. So why is it that these things are not known to be treated? I think it's because all addictions are good to keep you in a kind of 9-to-5 job. So let's say you were addicted to porn, right? Which most of us were. And how do addictions keep you in that cycle? So pretty much you work in 9-to-5 job, which most of them are boring, and then you come home and the first thing you do is just to, you know, go back to your addiction. And then you just feel bad and don't have any motivation whatsoever to look for different jobs, to look for other better you know, opportunities, and you just go back to the 9-to-5. You're bored again, and you come home again, and you get addicted again. So it's never-ending cycle, and it's hard to break from it. And people who are kind of on top of the system, they know it, and that's why they're kind of promoting even this addiction. That's why you have so much porn available. That's why you have so many kids addicted to gambling, playing computer games. So it's crazy, right? But yeah, so once you know that there is a reason why nobody talks about this, or they're really criticized, is because first of all there's huge business, and second of all they want to keep the machinery, the 9-to-5 jobs, you know, they want to keep it going, you know, and you never look for other options because you're addicted. So let me know your thoughts. Sorry for the long video, and I'll see you in the next episode.